And the question is, how has this come about? And what are the implications of it? Well, for it to have come about, two things must have occurred within the way we imagine ourselves to be. Two things need to have occurred within, we might say, the social or cultural imagination of a society for these things to be plausible. First, feelings and desires have to become more important than bodies. Again, we can give an example of how that has become the case today when, say, 50 or 100 years ago, somebody had gone to a doctor and had used that phrase, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. The doctor would probably have said, well, that's a problem. It's a problem with your mind. We need to treat your mind in order to bring it into conformity with your body. The doctor is operating in a world where the body has an authority over the feelings at that point. If you go to your doctor today, your doctor may actually be legally obliged to identify the problem as a problem of the body, not the mind. So we see in that scenario exactly that kind of displacement of external physical authority with psychological authority that must have taken place for expressive individualism to become the dominant form of thinking about ourselves today. Secondly, particularly I think in terms of the descriptors lesbian, gay, bisexual, straight, sexual desire has to have become decisive for identity. So the story we need to trace is one whereby we need to look at how is it that external markers, bodies, relations of obligation and dependency, etc., things that have typically identified us, have come to have less authority than our inner feelings. And we need to also to understand how those inner feelings have come to be identified with sexual desire. Well, the first step, I think, is what we might call the inward turn. Again, go back to the Middle Ages. If I'd asked, if you were living in the Middle Ages and I'd say, who are you? You would have identified yourself in terms of external relations. I'm a peasant farmer. I'm the son or daughter of so-and-so. I live in such and such a place. I belong to such and such a clan. You would have identified yourself. Your sense of self would have come from external realities. That all begins to shift for various reasons, really in the 16th century with the Reformation. The emphasis upon justification by faith, for example, placing an emphasis upon the individual's responsibility to believe, the growth of cities and the breaking down of the old patterns of social organization mean that those external markers are being destabilized. There are all kinds of things going on in the 16th century that serve to weaken the externals of identity and to start pushing things towards the inside. This gets turbocharged, I think, in the 18th century, particularly in the thought of Jean-Jacques Rousseau.